Now, Diwali is over, Dussehra is over, but Autocar numbers would be coming out today, which would be capturing now the indicative demand from auto companies for the month of November. Now, first of every month, when the dispatch numbers are released, these are declared by the companies. These are cars which have left the company's premise or the factory premise that necessarily has not translated into sales. The good thing here is that a lot of semiconductor issues behind the industry, and the demand in this post-COVID reboot economy is very different. SUVs are making a comeback, luxury demand is looking up. Companies like Maruti have gone on record and they've said that, look, we want to exit the small car market. I mean, those famous words from Mr. R.C. Bhargav that the butter from the bread is missing in the small car market. It just tells you that how the COVID crisis has rebooted the market in terms of want, need becoming want. So what should we expect for the last quarter and for the last couple of months now that the bulk of the festival demand is behind us? Now let's take that conversation forward. Hormazd Sorabjee, editor with Autocar, joins us now, and we've got Sanjay Thakker, chairman and executive director with Landmark Cars. Gentlemen, good morning both of you, and thank you for joining us. Hormazd, great Dussehra, good Diwali. Will things look charged up for November, and in the run-up to the Christmas, are we in for a good Merry Christmas for auto companies?
Yeah, I think the momentum will continue. It was like a record October. I think, because of several factors, you had both, Navratri and Diwali, same month. You had the semiconductor issue sorted. And I think more than anything, the retailers were geared up for this. So I think really, honestly, I think this time could be a month where, retails were more than dispatches because everyone had geared up. So I think there's still a lot of fair bit of pent-up demand. Semiconductor issue is not fully sorted. There are still waiting lists on cars. And I see that momentum continuing. But, one has to see, post when we get into the new year, how it's going to be because, interest rates are going up. Inflation, also the overall economic outlook globally, not very good. But I think for the moment, it's time to celebrate. I think everyone's had a bumper month and really absolute fireworks, literally in the auto industry for this Diwali.
Welcome to the studios. Passenger vehicles clearly has been a very, very strong trend, right? And the numbers indicate about 12% of a growth for the fiscal. Can this kind of growth momentum continue, or for that matter, even better itself?
So I have a different take on this,
Sure.
a little different. Our festive season actually started 2 years back. And when after COVID, the Indian auto market started to kind of gather momentum and take its rightful place where it actually belonged. So we have had maybe around 24 months of festive period, if you ask me. And we will reach a mark of 4 million cars. We are already trending at that number, and this was a number that we were also looking forward to. So since we will reach that, my sense is that we will take a breather over here. It's been a sprint last 24 months, and I think we will consolidate at these levels. That's my view as of now.
Define consolidation for us. Single-digit growth, no growth, low growth?
From this year to next year, maybe a single-digit growth for the industry. But for the luxury cars, the growth is going to be double-digit and high double-digit. That's the view I have.
The Indian economy post-COVID, or the Indian consumer, not the economy, the consumer has moved from need to want. You want to buy a SUV, you don't need an SUV. In the luxury car market also, I think that is clearly visible. But now the challenge is that interest rates have gone higher. Cost of cars has also gone higher. The discounts are missing. Will affordability be a challenge now going forward in the luxury car market, in the SUV market, in the cars which you sell?
So what has happened is, what needs to be understood is that we have been at such a low base. And when I say, let's define what is the low base. It is nearly 1% of the overall car sales, which is luxury. Now this is
less than 1% car sales.
Like if we were, it is 35 to 40,000 units.
Okay.
So of all the cars sold, 1% is luxury.
Okay.
Now that is a very, very, very low number. Everybody has been saying that it should be 2%, 3%. China is at 7%. Germany is at 17%. Now, fair enough. So affordability for the top guys in India is not an issue. Interest rates would not matter there. And the base, which is so low, has to only go up.
Hormazd, that's quite an interesting observation that Sanjay just made, that the growth is actually going to come in the luxury segment and not the affordable car market. Would you concur with that? And
Yeah,
I
well,
ask because, it's a problem of plenty out there when it comes to the
yeah.
affordable PV segment, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Sanjay says, it's a very, very small base. So I think, the growth potential is obviously exponential. But I think, the luxury car market has faced its own headwinds. Actually, if you track the growth or the level of growth, this is really when it's gone up. We've had years of decline in growth. They've all been double digit, but, let's say going from 30% down to 22, 23% because they've had their own challenges of costs, of duties. They're small volume players. They're kind of victim to certain regulation changes, which are very, very difficult to do with small volumes. So I think, frankly, the luxury car potential should have been much better. It should have exploded. I think its time is coming, but I think what clearly is there, and I think, what you all have said and what Sanjay has said is that I think there's a certain love affair with the car, which has been reignited after COVID. It's not necessarily a need-based thing. It's a desirable thing. You want cars with more features. You're willing to spend more. And I think, even in someone's mindset, a car has typically gone up in priority in terms of purchasing. Obviously it was first the house, education, all that sort of thing. But I think now car is really right up there. I think, and as I said, I think it's become, let's say an object of desire more than ever after COVID, because people want to live their lives as fully as possible, and they're willing to spend on a good set of wheels to do that.
So, Sanjay, ultimately, for our viewers who have invested in auto stocks, who want to understand that which way things are moving, let's get the big picture. You are of the view that the growth for the car market will start plateauing. And there will be, I'm not using the word slowdown, but there would be a base effect here.
I believe that there would be a base effect for maybe 2 quarters or so, 3 quarters max, and we will again go up on the charts. The car ownership in India is 2%. So that has to improve, that will improve. And I think this is comparable to our neighboring countries, and I don't think that's where we belong.
We should not compare India and China now. So, देखो China का क्या
No, when I'm talking about neighboring countries, I'm saying ex-China.
Okay.
China, it is significantly higher.
Fair point. Now, if you look at what Mahindra and Mahindra has indicated, they are saying that our cars are sold for next 2 years.
Yeah.
Maruti's
Waiting period
is 2 years. You look at Maruti's new launch Grand Vitara, they are talking about a waiting of about 6 months. Is there a very differentiated market which has just got created in the SUV market? The luxury is one aspect, but SUV is now the new small car. What is happening there?
Yeah, SUVs world over, 50% of the vehicles or more sold are SUVs. In India, that number has, I think, crossed 44% finally. That's where we are. What is happening is that people are looking at newer technologies, newer models, newer launches, as they always do. You spoke about Mahindras and Marutis. I can also give you the example of BYD electric car. They are launching an SUV, and the initial response is looking like that by the time the car is there for delivery, it will be sold out for 6 months or more. Now, this is what is happening. There is a latent demand, and it's a good period to be there.
Hormazd, again, I just want to clear the air so that we don't communicate it incorrectly for our viewers. Sanjay feels that in the car market, there would be a base effect which would kick in. So it's not going to mean slow down. It is just going to be a base effect for next 2 or 3 quarters. What is your assessment of demand per se? Which categories you think which will be in this parabolic stage of growth, and which are the categories where the base effect would kick in?
Yeah, I think I would agree with Sanjay because clearly, I think we are still looking at a lot of pent-up demand from 2 years, and that takes a lot of time to kind of fulfill. Then you'll really get into the true demand cycle. And I think, also we have to see, the fact is cars are getting more expensive. They're no longer as affordable as they were. So that's one big factor right across the board. I mean, driven by, raw material costs, overall costs, compliance, regulation, which is just pushing the costs up. So I think clearly that is going to hurt the budget segment the most, because that's which is most price sensitive. And I think that's one segment which we've seen, and even Maruti spoken about, that's no longer really the growth segment at all. And it's a low margin segment as well. So I think everyone's gravitating towards SUVs. I think that will continue to grow. Simply because there's so much more, let's say, choice competition coming in there. One of the reasons why the budget segment is also stagnant is because there are very few players. There's only Maruti left. Everyone has vacated that segment. And, you need choice, I think, is one of the biggest drivers which people don't, realize. I mean, if you see the segments which are growing, they've got the maximum amount of competition and maximum amount of choice. Now, everyone's coming into the SUV segment, and they're coming into a slightly larger SUV segment, no longer the sub 4 meter, but the plus 4 meter. Maruti's done that. Toyota is doing that. Honda is again launching a vehicle in there. So I see that segment really growing. And I think for two reasons it's attractive to OEMs is because the margins are much bigger over there. The fact is you can bring global products, because it's only in India where sub 4 meter products have a market. So you get a bit of global scale over there. And there is also now a big demand for it, as we've seen with, in fact, Mahindra actually is a case study to show that people are willing to spend a lot on vehicles that are 20 and 20 plus lakhs. So really the market that way has shifted up. People are willing to spend. They see value in that. People have gone from being just cost conscious to very much value conscious, and very, very aspirational as well. And that's where SUVs really score. They're super aspirational in terms of road presence, performance, features, connectivity, all the tech inside them. It's really the full package. And I think that's what is really driving these few segments, which are the growth segments. Fundamentally, I would say the SUV segment, the compact SUV segment, it's still there, and the plus 4 meter SUV segment, which is really rapidly growing.
Sanjay, before we let you go, let's put you in the spotlight. In the luxury segment and in the affordable segment, which are the two companies that you're going to bet on?
Luxury segment, Mercedes-Benz, a clear winner. There is nobody coming
Indians
even...
and their love for books, yeah.
Then why not? I mean, they are completely committed to the country. The new EQS, which was made in India.
They started up manufacturing also in India.
That's what. So this is something which is showing the commitment, and whoever shows commitment to India, India will love them. India will pay them back in the times to come. So clearly they are going to be the winners there.
And the affordable segment?
Affordable segment, I think the game is open. Maruti has again upped its game and launching vehicles after a period of time. But I think Kia is also a company to watch out for. That's what.
What discounts in this festival season were they missing?
Yeah, the discounts have been missing for a while, and I believe that's a good situation to be in. And people have been buying, and people want transparency, not necessarily giving a higher on paper price and then giving a discount on it, because understand discount also goes from the OE's pocket. So really it's a optic that was missing, but it's a good thing. Really no harm in having that.
Yeah, and they've been marred by cost pressures, etc. So where will the discounts really come in from? But Hormazd, Sanjay, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining in today. That was a good discussion. We'll take a very quick break on that note, but come